Time for another members question, not a review, but can I make a video, says Vaz, on credit scores? So, yep, and there is my credit score. So I'm going to share with you now my thoughts on what is a credit score, how it works, how to get a perfect credit score, and how to maintain a perfect credit score, what it's all about. Well, why have a credit score? What is the point? What does it do? Well, a credit score is a score of your credit worthiness, how high risk you are, whether people should lend you money or not, or whether you are likely to pay their bills, miss bills, or whatever. And if you get a good credit score, then not only are you going to be able to get services that you may or may not be able to get before having a good score, but you're also going to get better rates on car loans, mortgages, stuff like that. So it's important to have a good credit score, but it's not essential. You can live a perfectly happy life and do very well without a credit score. Even knowing what your credit score is, do you even need to know? Well, it's important, and I'm going to go over all those things right now. So I have got a credit score in Europe. I've got a credit score in the UK. I've got a credit score in the United States. This is my United States credit score. The maximum is 850. I am on 818. Which is an excellent credit score. It's higher than like 98% of Americans, and I've only been in America, I think, 7 or 8 years now. It's got nothing to do with how much money I have or how much money I don't have at all. It's to do with how you manage your money. That's all it is. It's not about being rich or poor. It's about just managing your money correctly. I've got a perfect credit score in England, which is 999 out of 999. It's a different system, but it's all kind of the same thing. They just have just a different way of a different measurement system. That's all. But anyway, I've just done that credit score a few seconds ago, took a screenshot of it, and that is my credit score live right now, right today, and that is a perfect credit score. The only thing that stops me from having 850, the highest absolute possible, is history, and history needs to be 20, 25 years living in the United States with credit history. Well, I've only been here 8 years, so I can't get any higher until I live another 14 years. So it's got nothing to do with me. I can't do nothing about it other than live, and then I'll get a perfect credit score. But anything above 800 is regarded as perfect anyway, and I'm not going to get any more benefit by being 850 than I am with 818. So that's my credit score. That's what I have. Full disclaimer, so you know it's real. I have perfect credit scores in 3 countries and 2 continents, and anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not clever. It's not hard. It just takes discipline and understanding. So let's talk about credit scores. What is it and how do you achieve it? It doesn't matter whether you know about it or not, the credit score exists. Whether you care, whether you think about it, whether you look at it, doesn't matter, it exists. And when companies do credit checks on you, if you walk into a shop and want to buy an iPhone and put it on credit, you want to get a credit card, bank loan, car loan, they look at your credit score. Just because you've never done it or you don't know it exists, it does. And it affects the outcome of the transaction or whatever you're trying to achieve. So it only really matters if you're trying to borrow money and you want some kind of credit. If you don't want credit and you couldn't care less, it doesn't matter to a point, but a credit score can also reveal other things like people using your name on the dark web and putting damage on your credit. So you can then not only can see your credit score, but you can see other alerts about is your website and name appearing somewhere else or whatever. login details and all these things. Someone's stolen your ID, or they say they've stolen your credit, history or whatever, and it can be affecting you. So if you've got a perfect credit score, you're pretty much okay, right? So it's good to know how your credit score is doing, and if it suddenly drops, why? And you might want to look into that. So it's worth knowing, and there's lots of ways you can find out. There are free ways and there are paid ways. This is one of the free ways. I got this off Bank of America. I got it off Chase. Experian has a free plan. Equifax has a free plan. But if you want to know more and you want them to do more research on you and sort of dive deeper, then you have to pay. It isn't worth paying unless there's a problem. If you've got a score, which is great, you don't need to pay to know anything. The score will drop if there's a problem, and then you'll know anyway, and then you can sort of pay after that. No need paying. You don't need to pay. There's free options everywhere, and it's a complete and utter waste of money. So don't waste your money on that. Now you know what my credit score is, and you know the importance of it, why it's important to know it, manage it, and the benefits to borrowing money. How do you get a perfect credit score? All right, well, a credit score is basically your measurement of how reliable you are paying and managing your credit. That's all it is. And that doesn't just mean how you pay your bills and whether you make your credit card payments on time. It also is about the basic things, right? For example, to get a good credit score, you start achieving credit when you get a social security number, or get a national insurance number, open a bank. You start some credit. You start appearing on financial institutions. Then so you can be from a very young age. You start building up credit history, right? It's your footprint in the world of finance, essentially. And there's lots of factors that go into a credit score, and some of those are very, very obvious basic things. For example, if you're in the in the United Kingdom, you need to be registered for council tax. In the United States, that would be property taxes. It's a way to identify you where you live, because credit bureaus and credit agencies don't like people who don't have an address. You've got no address, you've got no stability. Again, you might be a great person with loads of money, no risk to anyone, but no one can measure you. No one can judge you because you've got no permanent address. So even though I live in the United States, I have my home in the UK, I have a permanent address. I've had the same house for 30 years. So you want to register and have a fixed abode, a fixed address, not just be a traveling salesman and with no fixed abode. That's very important. So if you don't have one, use your mum's address. Just bearing in mind, of course, your bank statements, credit card statements need to be registered there. Otherwise, it flags up that you're just using somebody else's address. So have an address. You need to be there for at least 3 years. Under 3 years, it doesn't regard it as it doesn't give it maximum points. The longer you're there, the better. Like for me, I've only been in the US for 7 or 8 years, and I've got not enough history yet. So a fixed abode, an address. And an address is associated with property taxes in the US or council tax in the UK, so they know where you live. Then you want some kind of history on utility bills. Utility bills can be things like paying your mobile phone, paying your plumbing, your water bill, your rates, your electricity. They are utilities, not you shop at McDonald's or you bought a new pair of Nike trainers. No one cares about that. They want your utility bills because your utility bills are associated with your address. So it can show that you are at that address and you are paying those bills. You then want to make sure that you pay your bills on time. Now, if you've got little money and you can't afford to make huge electricity bit payments, you've just got to use less electricity. Use less. Turn the air conditioning up so it's not, or turn it down, turn it up. You know what I mean? Don't have it running too much so you can't pay the bills and miss the bills. Be uncomfortable if necessary. You've got to be able to pay your way. If you miss bills and get late on bills, that goes against your credit score. Obviously, if you miss bills, why would anyone think that you're going to pay their credit card bills when you come to borrowing money? So you want to have utility bills in place. Have a bank account. Having a bank account is good. Even if you don't use it, have a bank account associated with the same address. Don't have it associated with a different address. Don't confuse the system. That looks like there's something up. Have it with the same address, wherever that might be. Same address. Have a bank account. Your driver's license. Make sure your driver's license is updated. People move and don't update their driver's license. Very, very important. Make sure that you update your driver's license with, again, the same address. Very, very simple. Now you've done the basics. You are a legit person with a real social security or national insurance number. You've got a fixed abode, an address. You're registered for council tax or whatever, or property taxes. You're paying your bills. It doesn't work if someone else is paying your bills and you're not taking an account for it. You need to be taking account for it. When I moved to the United States to help me get a perfect score, I started paying some of the bills here. I think I paid water or electric or something. So I was on the electric bill. Not just my wife. I needed some history of me paying an electric bill. I think I wasn't actually paying it. I think Leah was paying it, but I was on the bill. That's important. Put yourself on the bill. Be accountable. Show a paper trail. So now you've done all the basics, and now you want to get your credit score up. You're at some point looking to get a house, a mortgage. Maybe you want to buy a car. Maybe you want to borrow money, credit cards, whatever. Now, there's nothing wrong with a credit card. I have a credit card. Soon I'll get rid of my Bank of America card and I'll have a Robinhood Gold card. But credit cards are great. I love credit cards because I earn cash back when I use them. Dave Ramsey's wrong when he says use a debit card. There's no point. You don't get any money back with a debit card. The only thing is some people would, of course, then borrow money they can't afford and miss their payments. So a debit card is good for that. But if you've got discipline and structure, why not get cash back on everything? So what you can do when you've got little credit or no credit at all, or very little history, you can get what's called a credit score builder card. That credit score builder card, and you can Google all these things, that will be a much higher APY. They will charge you more for interest because you've got no history. And the card was designed not to borrow money, not to be used for things you can't afford. It was designed to show that you can hold your card and buy minimum things and pay off those things every month. Don't pay any interest. That shows discipline. That shows credit worthiness, and the credit score will go up. Your credit limit will go up, and eventually you can get rid of that card and get a better card with a lower APY. But even then, you don't need a credit card to borrow money. You don't use credit cards to borrow money. You use credit cards to build credit history. That's it. If you're borrowing money on it and you're missing payments or you're not making the minimum payments, then your credit score is damaged anyway. So very, very important to get yourself a credit score builder card. Okay, very, very important. So now you've got the credit card and you're building your credit. What you need to do now is always maintain a balance less than 10%. You don't want to have a $100 credit card and max it out. You don't want to do that. You want to spend $10, no more than 10 to 20%. And you want to make sure that you pay it off every month. Always paid off, always cleared. And that way you have got a perfect credit history on your credit card. After 6 months, you'll be able to request an increase in in limit, how much money you can borrow. Now you can borrow $1,000, for example. I do it every 6 months. I'm always asking for credit increases, but I'll come on to that important point in a minute, why and when you should do that. So you get a credit score, you've got a credit score, it's increasing. So now you can use it a bit more, because before you could hardly buy anything on your credit card, right? Because remember, you don't want to be using 100% of it. You want to keep it below 20%. Even if you're thinking, oh yeah, but I really want to use it, just use 10%. Just use 10%. Use your cash, use your debit card to pay for the rest, just because you want to keep it in control. What you're doing is demonstrating that you can make payments, keep paying, and without any stress or any drama. That's what's important, all right? So keep doing that. Now then, this is important. You've got a credit card. You want an increase, because a higher credit availability will give you higher credit scores, as long as you're not using all of it. You keep it under 20%. So ideally, you want a $100,000 credit limit, because that shows people are very prepared to lend you an insane amount of money, and you're still only using 10% of it. You don't need it, and you manage it, and you don't suddenly get carried away. That's very, very important. However, you don't need unlimited amounts and on forever and ever and ever. I have now about, I think, $80,000 credit limit, and I've got a perfect credit score. It's not going to help me by having an unlimited $1 million credit card. In fact, it can go the other way, because now you've gone excessive, right? You are a bit of a risk now, because you could go out tomorrow and borrow $1 million, and you don't want to do that. Don't have what you don't need. Know why you're doing this. It's like investing. Know what your goals are. Stick to your goals, and just get yourself a decent amount, but and keep it under control. The next thing is don't do too many searches. Don't get searched every 5 minutes. If you're going to get searched every 5 minutes, in other words, applying for credit. If you walk into one bank and say, can I borrow some money? Can I have a credit card? Then you go into the next bank and you get another credit card, and you get 20 credit cards. You're having all these credit score hits. That is when you get a hit on your credit history, and that can damage you. Now you get hard hits and you get soft hits. If you are looking to buy a phone or an insurance, you're looking to buy car insurance, they will often tell you that we will do a credit check on you. Your score will be hit, but it is a soft check. Because sometimes it's just for security. They don't see the score, but they know they need to confirm that you are registered, have an address and all the social security number, all those things. So it's a soft hit. It's a hard hit when you apply for credit. Buying car insurance isn't necessarily a hard hit. But asking for a new credit card or increasing credit limits can be. Now, looking at your credit score, some people think that's a hit. It's not. It's a soft hit. I look at my credit scores regularly just because I want to make sure I'm not being scammed on the dark web. And I look nearly every day, just when I'm having my tea. Oh, there you go. That's good. That's a soft hit. I look at my score all the time. Doesn't harm me, doesn't hurt me. And it just lets me know that everything's great. All right. So don't worry about looking at it, but do worry about applying for more and more credit. Don't do that. However, if you are applying for credit today, it's not a bad idea to do what else you want to do in the same 30-day period. If you do apply for credit today and then think, I'm going to do it again next month, that's worse than doing 2 or 3 today, because it only counts as a certain hit in the same 30-day period. It's if you're doing it every month, all the time, that's much, much worse. It's seen as much, much worse. So if you're going to do a few credit scores, maybe you want to get a car loan and you want to get a credit card, do it all on the same month. Now then, what happens if you do a credit check and you get hit? It doesn't matter. You go backwards to go forwards. It's like buying in the stock market. It's like, your stock's going down and buying the dip, right? It's the same thing. You can't go forward before you go backwards. You can't make an omelette without breaking eggs, all right? To get credit, you have to apply for it. When you apply for it, you go backwards, but then you'll come 3 steps forward in time. So just give it time and have patience. But as I've demonstrated here today, anyone can have a perfect credit score. I've got it on 2 continents and 3 countries, a perfect credit score. And it's just because I understand the rules, I manage my money wisely, and I have discipline and structure. That's it. If it wasn't for the fact I hadn't lived here for just 8 years or 7 years in America, I would have 850 by now, and I would have the highest score possible. But anything above 800 is excellent anyway. Anything above 750 is very good and not really going to affect you in any way at all. It's just a little game you play with yourself once you go past 800. See if I can get to 850 at some point. But I won't get there until I'm about 65 years old. But I will get there. Just got to stay alive, right? Basically. So anyway, that's what my score is. That's what a credit score is for. That's how to get your credit score up. And I've told you that's how you damage it, by applying for more credit than you need, not paying bills, missing payments, and so on and so forth. Don't pay anyone to give you a credit score. Don't pay for the extra services and boosts until you see the free score go down. Now, don't be confused. In America, as always, it's always extra confusing in America because it's such a big country, many rules, many states, different ideas, different bureaus. I think there is there is Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, I think it is, True Identity. There's quite a few bureaus in the United States, and they'll all give you a slightly different score. On one, I'll be 818. On another one, I'll be 820. Another one, I'll be 801, 799, because they all have a slightly different scale, but essentially they're all the same thing. They're just different bureaus because they make money doing it. They're businesses and they sell services, products, offer you credit card deals and so on and so forth. So just go with the one that is free, and all you want to do is try to improve on it, not compare it to the other one or whatever. If it improves on one, it improves on all. But there can be a delay. You can find where you one is up 1 month and then one is behind because the agencies, the credit agencies, haven't reported to the bureaus. I've seen that happen where, like Barclaycard have told Experian about my credits, about my balance, but they've not told Equifax until the following month. You can see that, but don't worry, all that balances itself out in the end. Also, there's a very important way here to affect your credit, and that is by making a regular payment to a loan. One of the things that helped me achieve a perfect credit score in the United States, even though I didn't need it, was a car loan, an auto loan. I could have paid the car for cash. I could have used my credit card and got some cash back. But to get a perfect credit score, I was encouraged, as I understood, to have a car loan, auto loan, make the payments. As it happened, I paid it off early. It was a 6-year car loan. I paid it off in 18 months, which is great because I've now shown history that I can make car payments and pay on time, in fact, ahead of time. That was great. However, as you can see, my credit score is 818. The only thing that's stopping it is age. It would be slightly higher, maybe 822, 823, 24, perhaps, no more than that, if I'd kept the car loan. My car loan, the fact I paid it off, now doesn't show, I mean, it's there in my history, but it doesn't show a regular payment to an auto loan. I've got no current history on making payments to a car loan, so it's not as good as it would be. However, the money I'm saving on interest and the peace of mind and the fact I don't need the car loan anymore is the right thing to do. But I got a few points missed because I could could have kept the loan, but in my case, what was the point? It's still perfect. I can still get any deal. I can walk into any shop, get the lowest deal, the best credit price, the best APY, the best mortgage, the best car loan that is available to anybody. So it doesn't matter to keep the car loan just for the sake of it and pay interest on it. There's no point. But I thought I'd just add that in. Car loans are important. They're a good way to build a credit. What I would suggest is if you wanted to buy a car, just get yourself a tiny little loan that hardly pays any interest at all. Maybe put 95% cash down and have a $1,000 car loan and pay $1 a week for 6 years, and you're not paying any interest, are you? That way you're just showing that you can manage a car loan. You can do that. That helps you as well. But again, don't be slave to it thinking I have to have a car loan and pay interest to get a perfect credit score. The only reason why you have a credit score is so you can borrow money cheaply, not so you can waste money paying interest. Anyway, just thought I'd add that in as a little afterthought. Now, another important thing is county court judgments. If you get a speeding ticket, that won't affect you. But if you are a criminal, you break the law, you don't pay your council tax, and you get taken to court, financial judgments or criminal judgments will go against you. Not getting a parking ticket or a speeding fine doesn't. But if you do get a speeding fine and don't pay your speeding fine, it will. And if you are a criminal, it won't do too well on your credit score either. So there you go. There's my experience of credit. That was for Vaz. He wanted to know all about a credit score. I hope that helps, serves as some purpose. Going bankrupt, just before I finish, that's important to note as well. Years ago, I declared myself bankrupt once. You learn from it once. Twice is just stupid. No one made me bankrupt. I declared myself bankrupt because I knew that my business could not grow with the economic climate that came from America, with Lehman Brothers over to the UK, and the whole of it, the UK was in trouble, and you had to start again. So I declared myself bankrupt. Not a problem. It hit my credit score. It went to zero. My credit score went to zero. Literally 999 to zero. Went to zero. But after a year, you are discharged. After a year, I was about 300, 250, I think I was, out of 1,000. And then now it's back at 999. So don't worry about that. But if you are bankrupt, yes, of course, that will go against you. But it's not forever. Do the right thing. Just follow the rules. Year later, discharged. 6 years later, it doesn't exist anymore. It's not on your record. It's not like being a criminal and you walk around with a ex-con badge on your head. If you get discharged from bankruptcy, you're not an ex-bankrupt. You're not divorced or a spinster or a widow, or you don't carry these titles with you. They dissolve and they're not important at all. So you can end up once again with a perfect credit score. So there you go. There's my experience of it. I hope that helps. That was done for one of my members, and we are Members Day. So click above my head for all the links down below in the description, over here and over here. More videos in the series. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.